world wakes. Wait, Charles Baker, bring the story to life. Every scene, every frame, cutting sharp like a knife. Truth in the word, let the whole world see. Right here, right now, on TR.
Wayne, Charles Baker, welcome to the show. That was our little AI intro. We create one for everybody. I hope you liked it.
I love it.
Great.
Good.
Josh
Awesome.
does all the work on all those. I always love to give him credit.
That's cool.
It's really hard sometimes because you never know if the guest is going to like it. We've had good success so far, but sometimes, people really don't like AI, and I get that, or people just didn't like the song. But welcome to the show. We're really excited to have you. To let the audience know who you are. You've been acting, for when did you start acting?
Okay, I started late. I started at 39 years old, around 38.
Okay.
And I started in Vancouver, where I grew up. And that story is pretty good because, like we talked about lacrosse earlier.
Yeah.
My lacrosse career was ending, and that's what I love so much. And I love the fact, how you get in a game, you're getting dressed and you're getting the butterflies. You get that adrenaline rush. You're in there playing the game. You're playing for a championship. And it's like a little war out there on lacrosse. They actually, the name for it is a little brother of war, we called it. So when my career was ending in lacrosse, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what can I do to replace that energy and that experience? Then I got into acting, and I thought, hey, this is the same kind of thing, right?
I actually, in researching some of your background, I started to get some parallels. I'm going to ask you about that, but that's, yeah.
So, and then I started getting into acting. And the funny thing is, I was watching TV, and it was like a show in Vancouver that was local and pretty popular in Canada, and lots of native actors in it. It was called North of 60. So
Okay.
I was watching it, and I'm looking at it going, you know what, I could do that. And I thought to myself, so I thought about it. I said, well, how do you go about it? Well, you can say it, but you got to, get out there and do it.
Back it up. Yeah.
So anyways, I'm going to take some acting lessons. And I started acting lessons in Vancouver. I did a whole bunch of them, like scene study, on camera study, and a whole bunch of them. And I just kept going and going and going, and kind of figured, I kind of like this. It's kind of fun, but it's challenging because, you got to perform in front of everybody. Same as a lacrosse game. You got to perform in front of everybody. So the good story about this is I got an agent. A year later, I was on North of 60, that show I watched.
I could do that. And then you did that. That's the closest I ever came. Is I saw Pawn Stars and decided to email producers so I could get on the show. But like, you put the work in. Like, yeah. That's I guess the one thing that, like, you are an elite professional athlete. You have national championship rings. You've put the work in before in your life. At what point? Well, before we get to your professional athletics, I want to know who you were at 17. Like, what was your day-to-day, typical day like at 17 years old? Like that cusp of you're on your own.
17, I was one of those teenagers that was, we're talking early 70s, maybe late 60s. Well, anyways, dating myself. We all were growing up in a reservation, so we all were already drinking and partying and having fun because we started playing junior lacrosse, and that's when we were all summer long we played lacrosse. So at 17 we'd party like crazy, then go out and look for the women and the whole thing, and of course I went to high school and graduated, but yeah, it was a different time, but it wasn't as bad as it is now. The drugs weren't like the way they are now. So it was like, I smoked a little pot and I couldn't stand it because I said, why do you guys smoke this crap? I like that line on platoon, you guys smoke this shit to escape from reality. Tom Berenger. But
Yep. Yep.
anyways, I said, why do you guys smoke this? He said, all it does is it makes me paranoid and hungry. And then plus it started affecting my game because I couldn't run. It was like it was in my throat, right? It was hurting. And of course we had some good times, but growing up as
Yeah.
playing lacrosse and going to school and hanging out with your buddies.
How did that transition to a professional lacrosse? Like you weren't just kids on the street playing lacrosse or, you know, in the field or whatever. Like, how do you get in the professional level? I preface this by saying I'm from an area with almost that in my youth anyway had almost no lacrosse opportunities. I knew what it was, but I couldn't think of a place I could have went to see it. So this is from a position of ignorance, asking you like, how did you at that period in time go from 17-year playing with your friends to professional level?
Okay, lacrosse is big in the West Coast. It's big in Canada. It's our what do you call it? It's a national sport. It's not hockey. A lot of people don't realize that. So in the 30s, it was huge. It was like the biggest game around. And I come from a team that was called the North Shore Indians, and they were very famous in the 30s and early 30s. They would pack the arenas, 10,000 fans, and they even went to a Man Cup in Toronto. It was 10,000 fans. That's big for lacrosse back in the day.
Yeah, it's big for most sports, local level. Yeah, well,
so those are kind of my idols that I looked up to those teams and looked at the players, and some of them were my cousins because they were from the North Shore, Vancouver area, and we recruited a lot of the players from back east, Six Nation Indians, Native Americans. So that's why we drew some they drew crowds, is because it was the natives against the white guys, basically, right? They like to see that. They want to see it. They're killing each other, probably.
Little brother of war, right?
Yeah. So, but I wanted to make a story about that team. Tell a story about that team. There was a little exhibition for in Los Angeles for the Olympics. So they were trying to get the lacrosse in there. So they had an exhibition game down there. And there's one player that was playing for our team, North Shore Indians. His name was Harry Smith. And then he was from Six Nations, but he got discovered in Hollywood, and he became Tonto on the Lone Ranger. So his real name and on his stage name was Jay Silverhills. His real name was Harry Smith. So the lacrosse, once I got into senior level, because you play up to 21 and then you got to go to senior, and then you play 21 and up. And then, like I said, I was probably 25. My lacrosse was starting to go downhill. As soon as I quit drinking at 26, my level went higher. So I started playing on the higher level teams, and actually went to Buffalo and played 1 year pro. And then came back home and then won a couple more Canadian championships for my teams, and as a player, coach, and captain. So I'm kind of proud of that fact that I led those teams to championships and helped recruit players. I'd come out east. I'd even fly to Buffalo to watch the nil team and recruit players from them to come play for our summer team. Yeah.
What was I'm trying to think, like I want to talk about like looking back on films and also looking back on game films, but what would you say your best lacrosse play is, or one where you were like a game film highlight in your life that you could watch over and over and over and over, that your family's probably tired of seeing if you have it on tape?
Well, there were so many. I was always a top scorer on my team, so I won a lot of scoring championships and MVPs.
Wow. But, I had no idea any of this. I mean, like, for real, like, I'm blown away.
Yeah. So, like, 1 year right out of juniors, I won the scoring championship. My last year junior, going into senior. I still look at it now, and I was blown away. I look at my trophies, and I scored that many goals. I think it was 75 goals and 35 is 50 assists. I can't remember, but it was about 150 points, and that's only like a 20 game season. So I was like, okay, so and I didn't, you don't think much about it then. And then from juniors, I went to seniors, where now you're playing with the men. And in that league,
Bigger hits.
My first year in, I won the scoring championship there as a junior, as a rookie for my team. 105 points, I think it was. But I'd say my most of it, like my skill, was getting the ball. I was always an inside player. We call other guys perimeter players that were always scared to go into the middle and get hit, chopped up, and whatever. I wasn't that
That'd
player.
be me.
That's where I played. So I specialized in learning how to set picks. So I'd run in and run up and we call it the backdoor pick. And I specialized in that because I had made that play up, actually. I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up, set a back door. The guy's chasing me. And then as soon as I set that back door and the guy, my buddy I was setting it on, he goes down. So now my guy that was chasing me has got to follow him. And now I just turn around. I'm open because now this other guy's behind me. And so I got 10 steps to the net, right? So 15 steps. And the lefty on the other side, I would say, watch for me. And he knows what's going on, so he's just waiting for the play to develop. So he's just watching it. And as soon as he sees me turn around, boom, it's in my stick, and I go in and do all my fakes and fake the goalie out and then put it where I want. So that was kind of my specialty play that I kind of drew it up on my own and taught the guys how to run it.
Have a great one. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Be safe out there. Treat each other well.